Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Punch Up Pod with Lila and Pat. Happy Wednesday. Have you missed us?
I just took a quick little nap and we're back. Are we going to go 6 hours tonight?
Yeah, 6
Let's do
well,
6
yeah,
hours.
at least 6, right? 6 hours. Crazy night. So much to discuss. We had a blast. So grateful to our wonderful friends who stopped by and hung out with us. Steven Semler, Zainab Day, Jen Perlman, Peter Hager, all of the Jackbox players, and of course, everybody who was with us all night long to the bitter end. You guys are amazing.
Yes, thank you guys so much. And we stuck around until we knew the outcome. That was kind of it. And we're like, okay, they called Pennsylvania. That's going to be a wrap there. But
there is some game theory going on with what was that guy's name? Seth. There were like all those people who were like, here's how Hillary could still win. And I was seeing like, what?
You're kidding me.
Well, remember in 2016, there was all that. Yeah. Like, here's the game theory people or the TikTok, he's going to get arrested. And sorry, I'm a little late to the whole game, pouring my first glass of wine. And now I'm seeing, there were 20 million newly registered voters. And yet
yes,
the voter totals were lower. So now they're like, oh, we got to find where those ballots are. And
Dems are so bad. They're going to pull exactly everything Trump did and start saying the election's not valid. I mean, Kamala, to her credit, came out and said
she did.
She should.
Well, because now she's just going to transition into running for governor of California.
She's going to be our governor, and Newsom is going to be the new face of the Democratic Party. That's what I heard today.
It's all going according to plan. It's perfect. Nothing to cry about, even though people are really upset. We're going to get into it. But first, I'm feeling so like, whoa, where are we? Okay. First, we would like to thank our wonderful, I'm scrolling all the way up here. Our members. Our pup heroes and sheroes. You guys are awesome. You're amazing. Your support is so incredibly appreciated by us. Thank you. We love
Very
you.
Cool last night seeing the full stream of our folks, our family, whatever you want to call us, here riding it out for most of the night. I mean, I was surprised.
Yeah,
great.
It was really great. It was so much fun. It was actually really fun. I'm exhausted though. I'm totally exhausted.
It was fun. I wanted to incorporate a little more fun, but I think it's kind of hard when you have a guest on to we would have had to interrupt them constantly to spin the wheel.
Yeah.
Which would have gotten weird because it seems like the longer you talk to someone, the more interesting the conversation gets, kind of because you get more comfortable.
You want to get into all the depth of their analyses.
Right.
Yeah. And also just, trying to keep track of all the election results coming in with, I mean, we're not making excuses, but
it's the first time we tried
for the next one.
Yeah, exactly. Doing a big kind of long show like that and juggling 28 windows over here with all the, election coverage.
Yeah.
And it was a lot, but it was doable. And I think we'll be even better at it next time. Exactly.
I think so too. If there is a next time, because apparently the one mission was to save democracy and it wasn't saved. And so
we did lose democracy. That clearly happened.
It was on the ballot. I'm just looking at all of your wonderful hellos. Finding out day. Yes, fuck around and find out.
Such a mixed bag today. I mean, really love all the liberal tiers. I mean, I'm going to enjoy them. It's not good for the country, but
it's horrible for the country, but it was horrible either way.
It was going to, exactly. Either way, we lost. Tails we lose, heads we lose. Makes no difference. So might as well enjoy their tiers and all their terrible analysis and all their lies. And then when you see the reality come out and they're actually speaking the truth about why they lost, it's like, so you're saying everything we've told you for the last year was correct, but now you're going to start in a couple days spinning this whole new narrative that it was our fault. We were wrong the whole time. We should shut up. Yep. Even if we're right, we should hold off because we got to take back the House in the midterms already.
And what's happening with the Senate? We've lost both. I don't even know why. Why am I saying we? Yeah, the idea that they're right away pivoting to blame the left and progressives is hilarious. Yeah, they deserve everything they get. Unfortunately, we're going to get a lot of what they deserve also, but yes.
But we're already getting the Russia stuff coming back.
Oh my God.
We're getting, obviously we knew we'd get hate videos from all the Kamala stands, I mean, I've had some death threats,
They can't wait to cart us off, deport us. Like like as Zainab was saying, they're going to deport her. She's American. Nobody should be deported, but like the assumption, that anybody with a different name isn't a real American. We're going to be raped, deported. I mean, truly like hoping these things happen so they can gloat over it. It's just amazing to see no analysis at all. Thank you, Clintons.
Yeah, I especially like the thanks white people stuff, those kind of responses. It's like, we care about the brown people over in Palestine. That's a big part of it. They are the ones that didn't vote for Kamala. Like, who's the ally? Like, I mean, look, I'm not going to blame voters who were fear-mongered into this, scared of Trump legitimately. Like, I still think if you voted for not Hillary, if you voted for Kamala,
same
I'm not holding that against you. I still, you're closer to being my ally at some point, but ignoring us, the more progressive wing of the party, cost this election.
100%. She ran as a Dick Cheney Democrat, honored to have the endorsement of 200 plus war criminals from the Biden administration or former staffers from McCain. Said I was speaking the very first opportunity she got to address people as the nominee, and then was, chastened. So she then said, I see you, I feel you, I hear you, whatever. But like, clearly I am speaking. Or do you want Trump? Well, we got
and then
both,
closed
bitch.
In Michigan with Bill Clinton doing a whole screed against Muslims, basically.
And Richie Torres. Like, I mean, yeah. This
and meanwhile, part of the analysis on TV was that she ran an excellent campaign still.
It was flawless.
Flawless.
All right. Should we just like get into it? Are we going to, how do you want to?
Oh, yeah. Let's just spin the wheel or something. We didn't get enough wheels spinning last night.
We're gonna have a moment of, oh wait, I have to do the real cheers. Wow. My
let's
brain
do our cheers.
is like whoosh.
We're out of
Something's going crazy with Twitter today, and a lot of clips were not able to be downloaded. There's a longer one of this, but this is good, and it happened a few days ago. This is a retired Jewish professor named Haim Brashith, a child of Holocaust survivors in the UK, who has been protesting at every single protest. And in the longer video, which we weren't able to download, he says the only one he missed was because of this arrest that we are about to see by the UK police.
Earlier today, you made a speech. So you are on the arrest and terrorism.
Jesus Christ.
Making a hate speech.
Jesus Christ.
What was the hate
Against
speech?
what?
Somebody else, probably. Not in this demonstration.
Crazy.
So you don't have to say anything. There's no harm in defence. Being on the question, something that's
Crazy. You're crazy.
do so, maybe giving evidence.
Drivers who attempt to go to your limits to New Road, Judgment Avenue Road, from camera and the canal.
I don't understand why you're stopping.
You need to tell him what he's alleged to have said.
Thank you. Your arrest is we're going to interview you regarding this. So we're going further three. So if we can just come out of the way, we're going to go.
What is he alleged to have said?
Have you arrested him, mate?
What is he
Take him away.
What is he alleged to have said? What has he said? What has he said? You may have the wrong
He's an
person.
adult, we don't have to
You
talk.
may have the wrong individual.
Stand back, please. Look, guys, just stand across here so that he can go.
Shame on you!
Stand across
You're
here.
arresting a Jewish man! You're arresting a Jewish man! Shame! Shame! You're arresting a Jewish Israeli man. Shame on you. Shame on you. Anti-Semites of the Met Police.
Arresting a Jewish man for terrorism because he was speaking against genocide. So,
Yeah.
79 years old.
It's disgusting. And, you know, we're going to get that here on some level. And it was happening under Kamala. And
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
going to
we've
happen
had it
some
for the
more
past
under
year.
Trump.
Yep. Yeah, it's been happening. I mean, listen, it was happening. I mean, it's been happening all along, but we really saw it under a Democratic president at the beginning. Oh, are we frozen?
I hear you. Anybody there?
I know you hear me, but
Bueller?
Audrey is saying it's frozen or timed out. Should I just look on? Oh no. Okay. Sorry. Does everybody still see us?
Anybody
What's
there?
happening? Everything's see. This is what happened when Trump wins. Okay, not for okay, good. I think maybe there just must have been a glitch. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, when Occupy Wall Street, right? That was under Obama, and the protests at Standing Rock, that was Obama, right? These are people who are protecting their water from being poisoned.
Yeah, and obviously all the college campus protests. I mean, who ramped up the rhetoric labeling dissent against this policy in Israel as anti-Semitism? The Democrats did. The Democratic Party did.
Yep. And the UK is under Starmer now, right? He's like the Clinton guy. Yeah. So anyway, cheers to him, 79 years old and fighting the good fight. And I don't know. Cheers. We're all going to have to do a lot of it. Okay. My audio is hot. What does that mean? Is it too loud? Is that what you're saying? You all need to break it down for me. My synapses are running really slowly today.
You sound perfect on my end, but I think hot, maybe if you're too close to the mic or something.
I know, but I know. I mean, that's normally what we would say, but all right. Well, anyway, like the pretend hot mic moment between Kamala and Gretchen Whitmer. Like she didn't know that she's being followed by,
Oh yeah.
Okay. Devin's saying it's clipping slightly and that my level is too high. I'm just going to back away from it and see what happens.
Yeah. But we didn't even talk about the Kamala fake phone call. Did you see that where she?
Oh my God. Yeah. We didn't clip that. Yeah. Where she acts like she's talking to whom? Who did she?
It was like the get out the vote day. I'm so glad
Yeah.
you're going out to vote or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And then she's like, holds her phone up and it's literally on camera.
Oh my God. I mean, I'm not looking forward to Trump on any level, but the one job Democrats have to do is to oppose the right, not, bow down to them and be big tent to them while they kick all of us to the curb.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Now we'll do the wheel. I know you want to do that wheel.
Let's do it. We pulled so many timeline cleanses and puppets and things for the show yesterday that we are stocked for like months.
Yeah, at least for a week.
Okay,
if
you're gone too much, obviously I'll play them all.
The next time I have to go to the bathroom.
It's my go-to.
All right, where is my? I should get used to this. I have so many windows open once again because I want to be able to go to that AP map, which is really good. Okay.
Yeah, baby.
Perfect. That's a perfect way to start.
Right to puppets. This is the cat thief. I love the cat thief.
Monkey, where have you been and what have you got? Ask me that. What is a scratch card? Is it a winner though? A tenner. Monkey! What the hell have you got now? Tablets. Where have you been? To the chemist? Monkey, what have you got now? Fresh. What have you got? Monkey, what have you got today? Give me them chipsticks. No way. What are these? What have you got now? Give me that. What is this? Wow. Monkey, what have you got? What is that? Wall plugs. Wow.
So that lady puts it up every day, like the stuff that the video of the cat coming up the window and stealing stuff.
That
And
is so funny.
She holds a yard sale, not yard sale. She puts it out and says, if this is your stuff, take it back. On the table every month.
That's really cute. That's very cute. And I like that he's called Monkey. What was the green thing?
It said emotional support pickle. So I think it was like a
like a little a toy, just a funny toy.
little sex thing. You get it wet or something. And that's what I'm guessing.
All right. We only have one topic, but it's huge. But let's hash it out, right? Or are we not hashing it out today? We got rid of that one. We're just going right into it.
Yeah, we're skipping it, I guess.
We're just skipping it. All the bells and whistles we've let fall down. All right. Well, with whom should we begin?
Well, let's see. I mean, we should cover how it all went down.
All right. That's not looking great. That's 226 to 295. That's a shellacking. It really is interesting. It looks so much less chaotic when it's organized like this, right? It's like all the little boxes.
Yeah, this makes me happy, actually.
I mean, it looks like, I think so much about what Zainab talks about and writes about all the time, where the Democrats have abandoned, I think, 20,000 seats across the country, 20,000 that they've just decided not to invest in, and to just say that state, that county, that city, that district, whatever, has no hope, so we're done. And instead, they poured money into all the swing states. And apart from Michigan, they spent where Trump spent almost as much as Kamala's team did. But apart from Michigan, with all the other swing states, they spent almost double to lose.
And they had the nerve to email me 10 times a day asking for $10.
I mean,
but I like their strategy. Let's see how that strategy worked out.
I mean, this tells the whole story. I never want to hear from a lib again about how, well, they're running to the right. They're running with Republicans because they want to win. That's the strategy. That strategy sucks. They lost Republican votes, and they already only got 6% in 2020. They got 5%. So, running around with Cheney and war criminals and touting your right-wing bona fides and the border bill and building the wall and yes to fracking and no to health care or minimum wage and yes to genocide, got you 5%. Good job.
I mean, when they say she ran a flawless campaign, she ran a terrible campaign. But the one part that they're accurate about is with the candidate they got, hiding her was the best strategy. Like, because as soon as she got out there, it all fell apart. But courting Republicans clearly was a major flaw. It's terrible for the country because now all we've got, the world got to hear two right-wing candidates fighting for an election. And that's a dream position for the corporations and capitalism in general loves this because there's no check on them this election from the left.
Yeah. And now we have people who pretend or think about themselves as being liberals or progressives or whatever, who are saying how great Liz Cheney is, and she's a real patriot, and she should be attorney general or have some, seat in Kamala's cabinet. And why isn't George W. Bush endorsing her? We need all of you guys. So all they've done is make the far right, like truly far right, palatable. Because if you think that Dick Cheney is preferable to Trump, you don't care about policy at all. All you care about is the people around you who are like, no, that's a good one. That's one of the good ones.
Yeah, I really liked this tweet, bringing back Biden's strategy, pointing out the flaw that we need a strong Republican Party. You got what you wanted, friend of the show, holding Dems accountable, push Biden left. Great account.
Yeah, great account.
But
Yeah,
that's what you got. Biden ran on having this, strong GOP to work with and reaching across the aisle and bringing the country together. And you get less Democratic votes and you lose because you're still trying. I mean, you get less Republican votes and you lose because you're still courting these fucking people after all 4 years of them not working with the left or the Democrats on a single piece of legislation, obstructing everything. And your message is, let's be like them and let's bring some of them into our party.
okay. So the crazy thing, sadly, and I mean, it'll be interesting to see, obviously we see what the pundits are saying and the people who are paid millions of dollars every year on MSNBC and CNN, what regular voters, although Facebook is any indication, they really don't get it. They just think this is a racist country. They have no idea why this happened or what just happened. What did happen though, and as you said, it was flawless, just as Biden was flawless in making these reprehensible people palatable to people who used to hate them in the early 2000s, right? So the donors win every time. You can talk about reaching across the aisle in your strong Republican Party while you crush the left. I mean, do you remember, we all know that map, right, of the donors in 2020, the Bernie donors just like covered the whole map blue. Then there was, I think, Beto O'Rourke was Texas, and Biden was like a blip in DC and Delaware, right? But basically, the whole thing was blue. They crush Bernie in the movement. Everybody drops out. And instead of, reaching out to this huge movement of young, multi-ethnic, and old, I mean, everybody, but like a broad swath of the population in our country, one of Biden's t-shirts was like the things that he was crossing off, fascism, whatever, Trumpism, whatever, socialism crossed off. I beat the socialists. I mean, he used to brag about that, right? So like, that's the whole plan. And yes, their strategy, their business model, their idea of success has nothing to do with winning elections. That's just not necessary.
And if it was really about winning, they knew Bernie, the coattails that would have come for Democrats with the Bernie win, like all these places they don't spend money on, these races that you were just talking about, where they don't bother putting money in, Democrats would have won in a lot of those places.
Yeah.
Without putting any money into it because of Bernie, which would have grown the party, which would have grown the money eventually, which you would have had all these grassroots donors also contributing. Maybe you lose some of the corporate money, but probably not, because corporate money is just a bribe to both sides. That's all it is. And they're going to still bribe you until they know it won't work. But it was, even under Bernie, the corporate bribes would have totally fucking worked. I mean, that's another story. Yeah.
I mean, we just have to get money out of politics. There was we have so many clips. So I don't know if I cut that clip. It was in Maine, I think. Well, first we just want to say
Willie Bragg.
to the Willie Bragg show. We really appreciate you. That's so nice. Today's liberals embracing neocons who used to be praised by Rush Limbaugh 20 years ago makes me proud. I voted for Jill Stein yesterday morning. Here. Whoever anybody voted for, if you didn't vote for genocide, that was the vote. Thank you, Willie. Was it in Maine, or I don't even know if I did it here to get money out of politics, but it was like a 15-minute long clip talking about one of the ballot measures that passed to get money out of politics. Yeah.
I think that was from More Perfect Union, right?
Yeah. Was it Maine, I think?
I think so. It was the M state. I'm going to back you on that one.
But
they were saying how this was a template, that we can follow, because federally, they're not going to pass any legislation to get money out of politics. It's against their interest. So all we have is ballot measures, and ballot measures can only be passed in 70% of the states. Stop making that up, but it's not all the states allow ballot measures to even be passed.
Right. But there were quite a few positive things, if we want to head that way just for a moment to uplift people. We had Arizona, Colorado, Maryland, Missouri, Montana, Nevada, and New York passed ballot measures to protect abortion rights. Measures in Nebraska, South Dakota, and Florida failed to pass, but Floridians, 57% of them did want to protect abortion, which was Amendment 4, but they needed to hit 60% for it to pass, which stinks that that's even in their laws. But I mean, 50% of Floridians. So like, you cannot look at that state and think and just completely dismiss it, even though even the Rick Scott and the DeSantis and all that I get, but like,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Oh, we lost you.
oh, sorry, I did that. That tells you with roughly a 50-50 split in the electorate, it's still a popular issue regardless of party. So that's basically they have a filibuster proof kind of thing going on over there. 60 votes.
But I mean, that was great. This is, I need to do more research on this Kayla Reed, but she got a shout out from Derica Purnell, who's a great account. Kayla Reed's an organizing powerhouse. Missouri went red for president and governor, and on the ground organizing still was able to codify abortion, win paid sick leave, and get a $15 minimum wage. So, you know, that's huge. We also have North Carolina. I can't believe I'm showing this in a positive light because normally
Mueller, she wrote. Oh.
I know, but I know. They went blue across the board except for president, Dem governor, Dem lieutenant governor, Dem school superintendent, Dem attorney general, and 2 Dem reps. And they voted for Trump. So, I mean, Kamala was just extraordinarily. What's the opposite of a flawless campaign?
Look, the bigger picture we want is to change the Democratic Party, or, you know, people to not believe in the Democratic Party. But what this election showed is they still were like, well, the Democratic Party is the lesser evil, but you didn't convince me Trump is. And I know Trump was fucking terrible. We hate him. But is he really the lesser evil with the economy so bad, with you doing this genocide? No. But then when you go to the issues and you go to down ballot candidates, they outperformed Kamala by a mile.
Oh my God. Imagine if she had run on policies that they all knew were popular, you know? And again, listen, I know we all say this every time. I know we're past Bernie, yada, yada, but Bernie would have won. And if they ran on those policies, they would win every time. They are popular with Republicans and all the people that the libs love to say are a lost cause and garbage and deplorables. And now
Absolutely.
We've just, you know, all right. Where else? We have, Missouri.
Well, I did want to point out this. $1 billion. $1
billion.
$1 billion.
I can't wait.
There should not exist. The Harris campaign should not exist. That tracks.
Yeah, 100%. Is AOC going to put out some Instagram video with her spicy take about how Harris is just a grifter?
Ooh, I would love that. But even that, I wouldn't believe at this point.
Doubtful.
Like, she's sold out so fucking hard.
Completely.
Useless. I mean, for when she attacked Greens, that was really the final straw was a long time ago, but that just nailed in the coffin. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. It was like gratuitous to do that. Just for comparison, this was the tallies, and I actually did the math. Are you ready? So Biden won with 81 million votes. Kamala got 14 million fewer votes than Biden, who is like a train wreck even in 2020. She got fewer. 14 million Democrats or Democratic voters decided they're not casting a vote for Kamala.
And as we've been saying, elections are about turning out your base and flipping independents.
Yep.
They're not about flipping the other party to your side. You need your base to be enthusiastic and support your candidate. And when you flip-flopped on policies, when you go out there with Dick Cheney, those things don't fire up your base. They fire up, you know, paid pundits who want to go, look, an endorsement by a Republican. Yeah. Great. Dick Cheney, great. But regular people didn't. Even those endorsements, they were not about economic issues. You're bringing in people that believe in Reaganomics still.
That hate us.
They hate poor people and middle class people and working class people. Those are the people you brought in and took on tour with you around the country.
The Big Tent. The lady who voted with Trump 92.9% of the time is not our friend, you know? Yeah. It's really, really vile what they did. It really was. I totally just lost my brain power. We did see a lot of course, right away, blaming. Where is it? Because this one was actually like, a tweet in 3 parts or whatever. This all happened in one part, and now I can't find it. Where is it? Blame Stein. Is this the one? Yeah. Okay. Rebecca Jones. She's the Democrat down in Florida who is like a scientist, data analyst or something, who during Trump's first presidency, I can't believe that we're going to go through this all again. Jesus Christ. But anyway, DeSantis started like banning the collection of data. And so she fought for COVID, for both infections and deaths. And, because if you don't collect the data, then nobody's sick. So Biden fully embraced that policy. But back when liberals thought it was bad to pretend that people weren't sick with COVID, she was fighting hard against DeSantis. And I think she even was like arrested. They broke into her lab. They tried to take all of it. And then she turns out just to be a horrible shit lib. But so she says, if you voted for Jill Stein, fuck you. And she puts up the not final results from Virginia, where even in what she screen grabs, if you add all of Jill Stein's votes to Kamala's, still don't equal what she needs to, still don't beat Trump, right? But then in the end, Virginia was actually won by Kamala.
It's all just, you need a scapegoat. Like anything to avoid looking at the real issues here is crazy. And I was just pulled it up because I thought we were, well, you can't see it. I thought we were mutuals, and we are mutuals. And it's because of the COVID stuff that I started following her. And like, how are you so sharp on data and seeing a thing that other people aren't seeing, COVID? Like you're not walking the walk, you're not manipulated and a sheep. And
but remember, that was actually, I mean, I don't know what she is now with COVID. Is she still good on COVID? Because that was like 2020. That was like at the beginning of COVID when that happened, when Trump was still president. So I don't know. I think she's also like a Ukraine person. But yeah, so then they're all, blame Jill Stein and third-party voters. So I did go through the AP map, and I went to all of the Trump won swing states and then a couple extra ones. And it's way too small to see, but I can send them out individually if anybody wants. I did the math. If you presume, which nobody should, but that every Jill Stein voter wouldn't have just stayed home if she weren't on the ballot, or just not cast a vote for the top of the ticket and had cast a vote instead for Kamala, Kamala still would not have beaten Trump in any of these states. Not one. Michigan, it was close, but still he would have won. So that should just be completely gone. It's done. It's over.
That should be a wrap, but it's not, of course. There's the one you had. No, this is not related to the Stein stuff. Let's stay on the Stein stuff for a second.
Well, yeah. Are there more Stein things?
Well, I mean, we had some videos, but
yeah. Let's go to those lovely pundits.
I don't know that we pulled Stein in there. We have too many videos.
We have a couple. We have this lady.
The final word here in this segment about lessons learned for Democrats, and now what the next 4 years look like.
The progressive era should be over if they want to start winning again.
Wow, there's that.
Peter Baker.
Peter, final thoughts this morning.
Top that.
That's Elise Jordan with huge pearls of wisdom.
And
meanwhile,
again,
Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar both won. Black or women of color. Strong.
And Omar won where Republicans took everything else, right? Isn't it another one of those where
Omar's in Minnesota, Rashida Tlaib is in Michigan, right? So you can't say, it's because Kamala is a woman or she's black or she went too far left. What are you even talking about?
How do you even make the argument? Like, I think they saved that for a closing little statement, like hey, give us 5-second answer on because you can't defend that argument. Like, you didn't get Republican votes. You can't say, left is dead.
Care about your feelings. Yeah, exactly.
It's just corporate owned party and talking points. But here's Chuck Todd's here to straighten it out.
And I think Fetterman could end up being an interesting sort of North Star for the party. Right. He's a guy who's figured out how to win. He was basically a working class Democrat that has stayed a Democrat. Well, essentially all of his brethren where he grew up are clearly have moved towards Trump. So I think Fetterman could end up playing a pretty big role in whatever the party's gonna, wherever they're going to next, because Fetterman seems to get it a little bit more than, he's look where he was in Israel too. So he's not been a predictable politician.
Fetterman gets it. That's Chuck Todd's brilliant fucking analysis.
This is just really for the Hamptons crowd, right? They all just want to be able to have their cocktail hours together. And I mean, because they are not at all doing anything that matches the data. They have to know that, right?
I don't think it's for the Hampton crowd. I think it's for the true donor corporate class.
I mean, I guess that's what
telegraphing to those people that
we're on your
we're going to trust me as a media person. You should love me. You should give me my own show because I'm out here saying Fetterman is right. I'm out here saying progressives are dead. That's my read on this, which is clearly not backed up by anything.
Right. Yeah, they're just tapping for the man, tap dancing for the man. That's all. I mean, anybody who looks at Fetterman and says he gets it is insane. Sorry, Zainab just reminded me. Yes, thank you. Shout out to Case Study QB because we pull so many clips that he has curated. So thank you. Also, I just was scrolling back and I know we're not going to do it now on a chat, but I definitely need to hear about why this person is a fraud. I think you're talking about the data collection person, but I'm going to have to. Yeah, Rebecca Jones. Anyway, I have to remember to ask Jen about that. Yeah, so there was that. There was The View, just to give a smattering. Okay.
I'm surprised at the result, but I'm not surprised. As a woman of color, I was so hopeful that a mixed race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president of this country. Mm-hmm. And I think that it had nothing to do with policy. I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment in this country.
Well, I think it.
So if that's true, if it's a resentment of cultural identity, why did Trump pick up in every demographic?
Yeah. Yep.
Why was one of the biggest groups he gained in black men?
Latinos, Muslim Americans, black men. Yeah.
And young people.
Young people. Oh my God. And also just was about policy. You're right. It wasn't. I mean, it sort of was, but it wasn't. There was no policy.
Yeah. It should have been about policy. It should have been about policy.
Yeah.
Especially if it's the most important election of our lifetime. Policy.
Yeah. All right. Do we want to show the Olayemi Lauren?
Yeah, let's get some hatred out of the way and then we'll spin the wheel, I think.
Do we want to should I share it so we can stop and start it, or do you just want to play it through and then talk about it after?
Ooh. Yeah, share it.
Share it. All right. So give me 1 second because I think we're gonna want to
there are too many hot takes. She put a 2-minute video together of all the infuriating hot takes in one screed. And that's my new word of the day, screed, I think, after being on Twitter all day.
I mean, it really felt like an audition for MSNBC. Like she wants that money, that 20 million a year, baby. Sorry. Wait. Okay. And at first I thought I was misunderstanding her, but nope, we're understanding exactly what she means to say.
I am tired of trying to explain to leftist accelerationists that you are not going to convince the Democrats to be more left-wing by putting the far-right nut jobs in office. That you are not going to spite the Democratic Party or the powers that be by not electing them.
I kind of love that you stopped her from talking, but then we can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I interrupted already here and turned my mic off, but I've not forgotten. I lost my train of thought. But it's infuriating that she's saying, okay, we knew we weren't going to push. We are the ones that know we're not going to push the party left. This is not about pushing the party left. It's gone. It's gone. It's about a left organically being able to fight back against the Democrats as well, because neither two shitbags represent us.
Right. Building an actual party of opposition. That's what it's about. And possibly getting Democrats to wake up that the Dick Cheney Democrats are not oppositional to Trump at all.
Yeah, and there's the concept of punishment. You support genocide, you should be punished. I mean, this is a real. If you don't learn the lesson, you lose next time. That doesn't mean I thought I'd actually change you, because I don't think we will change them.
Right. All these women who wrote today, like, if you voted against my rights as a woman, you can unfriend me now. Like, all these people who have said not a friggin' word all year about a genocide. Now they want to talk about female rights, right? All right, sorry.
Well, I'm going to have to bring my parody account back, because Trump is back in session, and we're going to have Pussy Hats round 2 any day now.
Electric Boogaloo. All right.
You are not going to show them shit. You're not holding them accountable. You are strapping the country and the most marginalized people in it to the fucking rails. I am tired trying to explain to people that the world they dream of cannot be accomplished with a single phone call, no matter what people who do nothing but run for president every 4 years tells you. I am tired of trying to explain anything to Americans who so desperately wanted to be able to critique Kamala Harris in a vacuum that an election is about choice. It is about choosing someone in relation to the other candidates. Couldn't possibly make sense to make these indictments of Kamala Harris in a vacuum. Meanwhile, Trump is the alternative. You know what's been on my mind all election season? Repeatedly, I hear Americans complain that every election they say this is the most important election, that democracy is in danger. Every time I hear this complaint, it leaves me at a loss as I just start firing questions at myself. Is something less true because you hear it often? What does it cost you to go vote? Why are people behaving as though by being asked to vote, the bare minimum, they are being asked to build the ark and load the animals by their lonesome by end of business day? Is it absurd that democracy and your personal freedoms would be under threat in a nation where white supremacists never wanted you to have those freedoms in the first place? Is it absurd that you would be told your vote is important and that it's necessary you exercise it in a nation where you had to fight for the right in the first place because the white supremacists in charge didn't want you to have it? I don't even understand the need for this exacerbation at the concept of being told at election time, the time where power is up for grabs, that it will yet again be important to prevent your enemies from gaining power. Someone promised that because it was important to vote in one election, that it could not or would not be important to vote in the next one?
I got one part. I mean, she says, you know, it's important to know that you have to prevent your enemies from gaining power. That's the protest vote against the Democratic Party.
Yep.
Because the Democratic Party are also our enemies. And if you don't want to be our enemy, you need to come on board and represent us somewhat.
They're so clear about it. It's like when, you know, when people talk about class war, like when they got so upset, you know, in 2016 and 2020, like this is class war. But no, class war started with the people in power, with the capitalists. That's the class war. And now that we're fighting back or speaking on it, now we're told it's like, you know, it's like terrorism, right? The imperial powers are the terrorists, but when the subjugated people fight back, then they become like the savages. I mean, that's what's happening. And yeah, we didn't have a choice because for 3 primaries in a row, they were, you know, manipulated by, I just heard Lucky, hi, manipulated and, you know, rigged by the DNC. And how else do we express our dissatisfaction?
Yeah, well, she's tired of explaining it to us. So good, you don't have to anymore. Yeah. I mean, you'll be on MSNBC any day now explaining it to us.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
You're not going to stop explaining it to us, but we've heard the same thing for fucking 10 years, 15 years, 20 years.
We'll push them left. Just get them in. We just have to get them elected and then we'll do it. I am asking, begging anybody to show me somebody who once in power started listening more to the people. And I know there are
Exactly.
moments, right? Like there's LBJ, there's FDR at different moments, but they actually were already considered,
Yeah, but
pretty left or
look,
progressive.
even people that don't follow politics closely understand that basic concept that campaign promises are rarely met. So when the campaign comes out and says all this lefty shit, you're like, maybe some of it'll happen, right? But when your campaign comes out and goes, we're going to do Republican shit,
Yeah.
and
And
you know
I'm
that
thinking-
like that part they actually mean, and they're not that. What are you offering for the left? And if you're not if it's not promised in a campaign, it doesn't magically appear. Like year one, Kamala wouldn't have been, you know what? Here's what we need. We need to do this thing I never talked about before. That's going to take tax dollars and to do it, we're going to have to cut some bombs, but let's do it. Like she's not going to do that.
I mean, her values haven't changed, but her positions have on Medicare for all and fracking in the middle of catastrophic climate disaster.
Well, that's your opinion in a vacuum because you're naive.
Yeah. Just vote. Just vote. They were telling us they don't need us. Get in line. And we need to get these votes always. They always need to get the Romney Republicans, the Nikki Haley voters. And every time they do that, they just keep moving to the right. And, there was the thing. I mean, this is a little separate, but it is that whole ratchet effect of the tax cuts where under Obama, the tax rate was at 35%. I know I'm trying to look for the exact numbers, 35%. Under Trump, they went down to 21%. Biden didn't touch those tax cuts. And Kamala said she was going to bring them back up to 28%. That's not 35%. And it's not what was under Eisenhower, which was like 92% or something, right? So progress, it takes time. Healthcare takes time. It all takes time, but it keeps getting worse. And the thing that never takes time is when rich people need a bailout. That happens in a second.
And look, here we are. Trump's about to take over. Joe Biden was given unlimited powers to not be prosecuted for anything he fucking does. The guy could, like somebody tweeted today, and I retweeted it, forgive all the student loans. Fucking do it. Just go do it.
Yeah.
See what happens. See what happens.
It's an emergency because we're in a pandemic and we're about to have another one, and everybody needs healthcare, Medicare for all. You cannot tell us that, oh my God, the Supreme Court gave the executive unlimited powers, but I'm not going to use any of them, even though fascism is on the path, and about to take the reins on January 20th and do nothing. He didn't even fire Louis DeJoy. The post office guy is still in power. And I know he couldn't fire him directly, but he could get rid of people underneath them and replace them. And then they would vote him out. I mean, there was a way, right? Like, you're the most powerful person in the world.
There's a way. You could arbitrarily just throw him in jail. Like that's what the Supreme Court has basically given you as executive power to do. I mean, I know this is simplifying and this is not how it works. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. But you can violate the law any way you see fit. Supreme Court's going to have to come in and say you can't do that at some point.
Yeah.
But even when you lose that fight, you cannot be prosecuted for doing it if you did it as president.
That's right.
Under your So he could do a million things. And he had carte blanche with the pandemic to give us fucking healthcare, despite anything you hear from anybody. He could have just said, boom, everyone's on Medicare, expanding it. It's also going to cover dental because a pandemic.
Yeah. But they know that what will happen, even with like disastrous Obamacare, it's preferable to like nothing, right? So if they gave us emergency Medicare for all, nobody would ever give that back. And that's like the least of it. Yeah. That's not a left policy. That's just like normal in the rest of the developed world. It's so crazy.
Right. But now we're in that sweet spot that Dems actually prefer to be in.
Yep.
Which is, the Republicans want to make Obamacare even worse.
Yep.
So we're the heroes saving Obamacare.
Yeah.
And
the Heritage Foundation.
They might win re-election at some point on that, but then they're not going to expand it. They're not going to do anything. They just saved it. They got it. Stopped things from getting exponentially worse. They only got 20% worse.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dems.
And also the premiums have gone up so high that financially it's, it still is destroying people's lives, medical debt, and they can't
he could do all this.
afford health care. He could do all of it. Yeah, it's really gross. A quick wheel.
Yeah, spin the wheel. We got plenty to get to.
We got a lot.
We're pretty much sticking on the election stuff tonight.
Yeah,
baby.
What do we have to Israel?
Okay, that's what I was looking. All right, I know. I'll wait to fill my glass before I spin it again. Wait a second.
Oh, I literally thought I had a fly on the screen, and it's my mouse bouncing around.
We're a little tired, you guys.
Baby.
Long night to drink.
Oh wow, Pat, it's your lucky day. Hit my line. All right, another puppets.
Yeah, I mean it landed on it, right? Here we go. Did we play that one last night?
I don't know. We got a complaint from the chat over
What
here
I'm
that we
seeing.
saw this one. Sorry,
That was just a
about
test to see who was actually
y'all
here.
paying attention?
Not here.
I wasn't paying attention apparently because I didn't realize we had already seen that one. That's funny. Oh wow, you saw it the other day. Okay, did we really just replay something just from like a day ago?
I'm pretty sure
Sorry.
we did. All right, I'll make it up real quick. It's only Bad Dogs instead.
Reggie, don't eat him. Where's Chippy? Fifi, where's Chip? Bro.
What is she doing?
Oh.
Okay.
You cannot lay on the baby. Kitty, I'm so sorry. Oh my god. It's the best.
Very cute. Very cute. I like that. Now, was
wholesome.
the one before cat with sound effects? Was that what it
Yeah,
was?
we
All
played
right.
that one.
I'm getting rid of it so we know what we got. All right. So should we take a listen to the concession speech before we listen to the victory speech?
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
All right,
Some gems
here we
came
go.
out of it.
Kamala speaks.
Now I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. I get it. But we must accept the results of this election. Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power. A fundamental principle of American democracy is that when we lose an election, we accept the results. That principle, as much as any other, distinguishes democracy from monarchy or tyranny. and anyone who seeks the public trust must honor it.
Okay. We can't talk about democracy with her. We weren't given a choice. She was foisted upon us. We didn't have a primary. We were told there wouldn't be a primary. Nobody wanted her in the first place. They sued to get Jill Stein off the ballots and states, whatever. She's horrible. But also, Stephanie says that we played that video last night.
Which one? Oh,
the
one
one that we had seen already. Yeah,
that was probably me. You were probably gone or something.
Well, yes, and Truth to Tweet says I was in the bathroom, but like it was last night was long, but that's kind of bad. Sorry, everybody.
It is.
Right,
that speech was fine.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that the biggest clap she got was on, "We're not going to fight against you taking over."
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird. You've been saying this guy's a fascist. I mean, I don't think you should resist handing power over either. That's the way it is. You voted, you lost, hand it over.
Yeah.
But to just like get the biggest clap from people because she's doing that when they're all going to go tweet, how about they're moving to Europe and,
Oh my God. Yeah. There's Robert De Niro, Rob Reiner, Amy Schumer. Who else is moving away? There's a bunch of them who said they're moving away.
My parents were talking about it. I mean, it's just, they're not. It's just, it's all blather.
This was the second part. I mean, it went on longer, but this is just the second clip. It's short also, but just so we can, thank you. Oh, I forgot to I am tired, you guys. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the reminder. Please make sure to like and subscribe and smash that notification bell. Now that we know we can do a 6-hour show on a random Tuesday, an unimportant Tuesday, we might just make that a habit.
No, we're not doing 6-hour shows. That's too much. Sorry.
Okay, this was another short clip from that speech.
To the young people who are watching, it is. I love you. To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. You have power. You have power. And don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before. You have the capacity to do extraordinary good in the world. And so to everyone who is watching, do not despair. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves.
I hate that she uses "when we fight, we win." I hate it. It makes me and what is she even talking about winning? What was she running on? What was she winning? Like, what is she talking about?
And what is she what policy is she talking about that people were like, it's never been done, that she put out on her platform? Like,
I mean, that's the thing where they're like, oh, she's not talking about being the first woman president or the first Black woman or the first Indian woman, whatever. But it was all around her, like, because everybody else was doing it for her. That's the
implication, is that a Black woman, is going to make it. But like,
what else?
It really felt like she's going to be back, but she's trying to tell us that she's going to be back. She's going to rebuild. It's all internalized to her because she's a narcissist. I mean, I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but she is. She doesn't
truly. There was no.
I don't really think she's even that affected by losing. Honestly,
no, she's already headed to be our governor. They've already lined her up. That's her next stop. Like, you think she wants to live? Honestly, you think she wants to live in DC and not in Brentwood in her fancy multi-million-dollar estate? No.
Yeah, and look, I don't think she has much of a political future, but the way these things work, they chose her Nobody thought she could be running for president, and she got all the way to that level. So if they put the money behind her, she can get back in this. She can Joe Biden her way back into politics. And at 70 years old, she's wise now. She's really learned from her mistakes. And
she'll find a landing spot in California. And Gavin Newsom will be the new face of the party. It's all working out, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, they really have to cook things for her to win in California. I mean,
there's no way. I mean,
no.
I shouldn't say that. Like, who the hell knows? But yeah.
No,
it won't be because people want her.
No, it would be a similar situation of becoming president somehow.
Like shoehorn her in like they did with Biden. Yeah. But again, this thing, okay, so those were bits of her speech. Do we want to talk a little bit about, I mean, unbelievably, there were a couple of people who actually got their analysis correct, I think, about why she lost.
And I said this last night, you will get a couple of the worst people in the world, the pundits trying to look like they're wise now.
Yeah.
And it's a long-term strategy of, I get it. They always will come out and say the Democratic Party has soul searching. You'll hear soul searching. That's if you had a bingo card today, it's soul searching.
Yeah.
But it's all bullshit. In a week, they'll be back on their talking points. But for a couple days, we're going to hear them. We're going to hear some actual truth occasionally from people.
I mean, occasionally, let's not go overboard because, I mean, honestly, I don't even know who in here you're talking about, except for Scott Jennings, who's a Republican on CNN. But he was mostly talking not about what we would say for how Kamala should have run. Like,
right. I'm Bakari Sellers of all people.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's show Bakari Sellers.
For example.
Yeah.
But no, show. Okay. Well, let's show Scott Jennings first. He's the Trump guy who became a popular pundit on TV.
On CNN.
This is a mandate. He's won the national popular vote for the first time for a Republican, for the first time since 2004. This is a big deal. This isn't backing into the office. This is a mandate to do what you said you were going to do. Get the economy working again for regular working class Americans. Fix immigration. Try to get crime under control. Try to reduce the chaos in the world. This is a mandate from the American people to do that. I think I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids, and they feel like they have been told to just shut up when they have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives. I also feel like this election, as we sit here and pour over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex. I mean, we've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks, and the story that was portrayed was not true. I mean, we were told Puerto Rico was going to change the election. Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley voters, women lying to their husbands. Before that, it was Tim Walz and the camo hats. Night after night after night, we were told all these things and gimmicks were going to somehow push Harris over the line, and we were just ignoring the fundamentals. Inflation, people feeling like that they were barely able to tread water at best. That was the fundamentals of the election. And so I think that both parties should always look at the results of an election and figure out what went right and what went wrong. But I think for all of us who cover elections and talk about elections and do this on a day-to-day basis, we have to figure out how to understand, talk to, and listen to the half of the country that rose up tonight and said, we've had enough.
I mean, what policy did Trump run on except for we're going to get rid of all the illegals, which is repulsive. And, he is also going to help allow Netanyahu to finish the job. Right. So I don't even know what he's talking about. I do think that the way, and probably he feels it more than a lot of people just walking around on the street, but being a Republican with all of these snooty liberals who look down on all Republicans as being racist and sexist when they are committing genocide, have done nothing to protect women's rights, have thrown trans people under the bus, have he's right about how disgusting the Dem elites are, but obviously wrong because Trump offered no policy, honestly, except for hateful policies. And, doesn't say a single thing about how Democrats treat their own base, which is to shit all over them and tell them they're not necessary.
But I think despite Trump not running on policies and obviously all his disgusting stuff, he did connect better to the working people because he recognized that the economy wasn't working for them. Right. He offered no solution whatsoever. But on the left, you had Harris. I keep calling the left, but you had Harris and Democrats pretending it's just a matter of time until you feel this good economy because the economy is good.
Yep.
And so given that choice between the two, that's not a winning message.
Yep.
It just isn't. And his message about to the people in that room, and I hate to back him on this, but the media elites, which is CNN and MSNBC and Fox in their own way, but they did do the work of the Democratic Party by painting things falsely against Trump in several instances, especially down the home stretch when they were trying to say that Trump wanted a firing squad for Liz Cheney.
Right. There were a lot of lies. Yeah.
Those are just blatant lies that they all ran.
Russiagate, he was Putin's puppet. I mean,
some of these regular people are right in their disdain of CNN when they see somebody they think is a good guy like Trump, even though he's a dirtbag, but they're justified in their distrust of the media elites in that room.
Absolutely.
Making those calls.
Yeah. Who never print a retraction.
Especially when your target audience is those people. That's what they ran to get, those people.
Well, they actually didn't in the end, though, right? There's Trump having Muslim Americans up on stage with him. Kamala refused. He's saying, again, all lies, but they're all liars, right? So at least he's saying, I'm going to bring peace. I'm going to end war. I feel you. I hear you. I feel you. And you've got the Democrat who's supposed to be on your side completely just shunting you off for the people who are the actual, I'm sorry, but anybody walking around with Liz Cheney and saying she's a true patriot and this is one of the good ones and we need a strong Republican Party, good. I mean, that nobody's going to vote for Republican light when you got the real Republican, right? Nobody thought that the reason that Trump didn't want that fascist border bill was because he wasn't man enough. No, it was a political manipulation, right? But she's not going to out fascist him on deporting people, even though Obama was the deporter in chief, and there were 1,000 kids who still weren't reunited with their families who had been separated by Trump, and Biden just kind of decided not to. They more money for ICE prisons, all of those things. Biden doubled down on money for cops, right? COVID, I mean, all of it. But you're supposed to be, you advertise yourselves as a certain kind of party. So nobody believes anything that they say anymore.
And that's exactly it. They don't believe them. They don't believe the media about them. They're disillusioned because, Biden made all these promises. He turned Black Lives Matter support into funding cops. They went from Black Lives Matter being the top issue to an undemocratic process, and now the top cop is the Democrat.
Who's wildly unpopular. Yeah.
And I was seeing tweets today about, the shit libs, the way they like to, you're going to wait till they deport you and your family. That's going to be hilarious when they deport you guys. And now they're saying, wait till cop cities pop up everywhere. The ones being built now, they're going to pop up. Yeah, because you didn't do anything to stop them. You said this is okay.
And they're happening in blue states, right?
It's not a Republican thing. Yeah. It's bipartisan as fuck.
Yeah. 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 So, I mean, but I do think that, it's funny because people were saying when she said that, even Trump supporters will have a seat at her table because she wants to hear everybody. And some people were sort of deriding her for that. Like, you can't say that they're fascists and then say that they get a seat at the table. And I kind of, I disagree with that, right? There's a difference between the voters and the people in power. And what this guy who, I mean, I can't stand him mostly, but what he was saying is, yes, like, people are in pain. And when you offer them material differences, that was the other thing. A lot of libs were like, oh, well, I guess the material politics theory of the left is wrong. Because look, we did the child tax credit and we did the IRA, what's the climate bill?
Income Reduction Act. Build
Whatever.
Back Better.
No, what is the IRA? All right. Anyway, but like, those were not anywhere near good enough. People felt that, like, actually they felt it for a second and then it was yanked away. And that was a choice to yank it away. So,
and it was pulled under Democrats. And like we talked about last night, people felt a bump during the pandemic that they needed to get through the beginning phase of it. They need it now. They still need it. Don't get me wrong. But that was pulled, and then inflation hit at the same time, and jobs pay less.
We're told the economy is good.
Your rent is off the charts. So all these things hit, and Inflation Reduction Act. I said Income Reduction Act, but
yeah, I put it up there. Sorry.
Is that what you're doing?
To thank Sal. Yeah.
But you're going to blame Democrats for that, and they should. But you can't run on that was fine and things are fine for you now, because everybody knew that was bullshit. You need an economic message. It should have been an economic message. It should have been a transition, at least a little bit, on Gaza, even if it was fake. It was strategically stupid. But
yeah, I mean,
I'm glad they ran on what they ran on, because people now know these are not the people to save you.
They were offering nothing. And just so you know, Easy Go, no, I totally agree. I don't need like no Republican in office or like who has power. I don't want a strong Republican Party. That's the whole point of the opposition that the Democrats are supposed to be. They're not supposed to ask for the strong opposition. They're supposed to crush their opposition, but instead they always crush the left. I'm talking about people, like people in this country.
Yeah. Talk to
just
the people.
Regular people need to be heard, not told you're fine. You're fine.
Not,
the
hey, you're
great.
Here's a cabinet position.
Yeah.
Like that's
the stock
entirely
market,
different.
great. Yeah. So like that part of her message, when she said it, I mean, honestly, she doesn't know what she believes in. She doesn't know what she was fighting for, except to have more power. Because I don't think anybody could name a single policy where you're like, yes, that's so great. I mean, remember, and I'm sorry, I keep going back to Bernie. And again, I know we're all past Bernie, yada, yada. But like when he had his heart attack and 5 different surrogates were sent out to different rallies that had already been scheduled, the message stayed the same because it was really concrete. There were issues. It was issue driven. Anybody could have been subbed in because it was the issues that were driving it. It wasn't some Messiah complex that this one person is going to be exalted. It was, we need these issues to save ourselves. And who would come out to say what was her issues? Like, what was it? Remember Cardi B got up there to talk about her and the prompter went down and she just kind of stood there, and then they brought her a phone and she had to read it off her phone, because what would you say? Like, people made fun of Bernie, like, oh, he says the same thing all the time. Yeah, because we've been eating it now for 50 years. Nothing's changed. Your progressive pragmatism doesn't work. We need a living wage. We need Medicare for all. We need free college. Like, we need all of these things. It's very easy to just rattle them off. And there was nothing. What's she fighting for? Nothing.
She was fighting for nothing in the most important election of your lifetime, and fighting to save democracy without being elected to the position. So, here,
can we slap that on the lawn sign? Me too, Kimmy.
Probably.
Me too.
Here's Bakari. Listen to Bakari Sellers, one of the worst people in the world, but I have to agree with him on a lot of this.
But the war in Gaza played a more looming role, I think, particularly in a state like Michigan. You saw in Dearborn, for example, certain precincts. There are precincts in Dearborn, Michigan, that Kamala Harris finished third. I mean, you have Trump, Jill Stein, and then Kamala Harris finishing third in those precincts. I'm interested as we go through, I don't know if purge is the right word. I think that Republicans were going to go through a purge, Jeff, if Donald Trump would have lost, they were going to be able to have this kind of reckoning. I think Democrats are going to have this reckoning, and I'm interested to see how a part of our coalition, Arab American voters, those individuals who were pro-Palestinian, are going to analyze this race and what Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu, and the impact that's going to have in the war on Gaza. Because I just go back to Jared Kushner saying that Gaza would be good beachfront property, right? And I'm interested to see how individuals who either set out or chose Jill Stein to punish the Democratic Party are going to reconcile that with what happens with Bibi Netanyahu. I, for one, believe we're going to have more chaos. If you're going to, I pray that he put somebody like a Marco Rubio, and I don't know if I've ever verbally said that I'm praying for Marco Rubio out loud, but I'm praying that he put somebody like Marco Rubio who at least has some sense of decency and common sense, although I don't agree with his policies per se as Secretary of State. So we at least have a level of stability. My concern with Donald Trump is the lack of stability in our global standing.
I mean,
Rubio's
so the
never
big
going to be
question
confirmed now.
The big
They're
question,
going to just play that over and over.
So I just want to asterisk this part.
Yeah.
So the part I agree with, obviously, is that he actually
You love
brought
Marco
up
Rubio. No,
Right,
I'm joking.
Marco
Marco
Rubio.
Rubio. Yeah, it's your favorite.
That's a very sane thought there,
Yeah.
Bakari. But obviously he pivoted from that to let's put the blame on. Let's see how it turns out for Gaza now, Jill Stein voters, and I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
But it was the only time I've seen that they actually brought up Gaza policy costing her.
Nobody
Michigan.
mentioned it at all yesterday and on anything I saw today. No, you're right. You're right. And this was that's all of Michigan. But this was Dearborn right here. Yeah, Dearborn. I mean, I don't understand voting for Trump in an affirmative way, but Harris coming at 15% in Dearborn, and the mayor, not endorsing.
Look, Trump closed with Muslim support.
Yeah,
he closed
this was his last ad,
saying, and he brought Muslim speakers, Muslim community leaders on stage, and so you compare that to Kamala not even allowing a safe speaker at the DNC convention who wanted to tell her voters to vote for her.
And who had been voted, who were democratically elected to be her electors and to be at that convention. They weren't just some schmo off the street. It was members of the Democratic Party who were voted to be her electors who just wanted to actually endorse her.
And then cap this, contrast this to how they capped their campaign off with Bill Clinton going down there and being racist and basically invoking religion to back the Zionist project. And I can understand how somebody said, you know what, fuck it. I am so pissed off right now at the Democratic Party that I'm going to do something I would never do and vote for Trump. And I think that happened.
Again, I would never cast my vote for Trump.
Same.
But I understand. I don't even understand. I understand. I can't even imagine the horror that people are living through, and to see absolutely no response after a year of protesting and begging and watching your family be slaughtered, and then turning to Lebanon and doing the same thing there. And that the Democratic Party basically just said, we do not need you. We're going to go after the Cheneys.
Well, I really think the final straw in this was expanding into Lebanon. I think that made it clear to people, you're not feckless. You're enabling this. And if you are this feckless, fuck it. You're so bad at this because it didn't, it's one thing if it never went to Lebanon, it was still a genocide. It's contained, but to see in the last week before the election, expansion into Lebanon allowed unchecked by us. And then our politicians are out there whispering about nuking Iran, and like not nuking Iran, but bombing the nuclear facilities in Iran.
And that's
so
Trump.
It's like, yeah, but
Trump
also
said
like
that
Trump's
Trump and
blather.
Biden didn't want to do that, but I mean, like, it's all a
But
mess.
his blather is built in. You're hearing this from
Yeah.
the Democratic Party, who's letting this all happen. It's not the mysterious, what would he do versus what would she do?
Right.
It's what she's doing.
Yeah. And I do think that, I mean, just going by the body count, the Biden-Harris administration has been a horror show compared to the Trump administration, both domestically with COVID and abroad, foreign policy with, Israel, with Russia and Ukraine, Israel, Lebanon. I mean, and I do think that voting for, just the way people say, and I know we've talked about this so many times, so forgive me, but not every Trump voter is a racist, but if you were willing to cast your vote for him, you were willing to look past his racism. You got to say the same thing for a genocider. Maybe you don't 100% support the genocide, but if you're willing to cast your vote for someone who says she will not stop the bombs going to Israel as they are slaughtering Palestinians and now Lebanese people, hospitals, universities, healthcare workers, bakeries, children, school. Like, you can't, if you can look past that to vote for that.
And that's where, like, okay, I fully understand making that argument to someone making it back at us, initially over Trump and the racism and deporting Muslims and deporting, all the points that they say that we're overlooking, like abortion rights. You could overlook abortion rights for this, but you overlooked the genocide. So don't talk to me about that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I understand a lot of regular folks are just trapped into this news abyss and bought into this. You're stuck with two, So I wouldn't make that analogy to all the people who voted for it. I keep saying Kamala.
Oh,
I won't go there.
You're never going to even have to
support
say it again after tonight. It's over. What do you think is happening? So they've been hiding by, like, we don't have a president. Oh, also, we didn't. Thank you. This popped up a while ago.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers to you, International Party of Antarctica. I hope you're still here. And I'm sorry, I saw that pop up and my brain's a little frazzled today. Thank you. Cheers.
I'm bringing the cattiness today. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's more cattiness. Oh my God. Well, I do just want to remind everybody that this was from October 27th, 2023. I've been told that many DNC insiders, as well as those within the Biden campaign and administration, are convinced that by the time elections roll around, Arab Muslim voters will cool down and forget all about what's happening in Gaza. They are mistaken. And I think that is really important, because the truth is, if a Democrat had won, if she had won doing a genocide, knowing that it's majority unpopular in the whole country, but certainly in her own party, that people want healthcare, a living wage, not to say, we're going to frack still when we're having climate devastation every day. God, there was a picture of all the flooding in Spain, and one underground garage that they hadn't been able to access yet, and people had just been trapped in, and the water was level, so everything under was just flooded and people were just stuck in their cars. I mean, we know that is from drilling and fossil fuels. So if the Democratic Party is so unresponsive to its voters' demands, needs, desperate desires, and you still vote for that, you're never going to get anything from them.
That's the reality that set into a lot of people, enough people to not vote for her.
Yeah.
You know, they know what's the upside of co-signing genocide, co-signing an administration that thinks the economy is going great when everything's fucked for me right now. You know, my rent is too high, can't afford a house. College is $10 million. I have $200,000 in student loans, you know. And you're bringing all those Republicans. So like, what's the upside? But strangely, Joy Reid thinks otherwise.
And I think it's important to say that, you know, anyone who has experienced or been in the United States for any period of time and experienced this country's history and knows it cannot have believed that it would be easy to elect a woman president, let alone a woman of color. Let's just be clear. And nothing that was true yesterday about how flawlessly this campaign was run is not true now. I mean, this really was an historic, flawlessly run campaign. Queen Latifah never endorses anyone. She came out and endorsed. You know, I mean, she had every prominent celebrity voice. She had the Taylor Swift, she had the Swifties, she had the Beehive. Like, you could not have run a better campaign in that short period of time. And I think that's still true.
Oh my God. Flawless. If you want to lose to fascism for a second time, it was flawless. It was perfect.
This is the formula. And this is the nail in the coffin of Democrats just need to rebrand and change their branding, because when you do have all the celebrities in the world come out, that's branding. That's like, you know,
yeah.
What else? That's commercialization of an election. And they had peak commercialization of the election, and it didn't mean shit because people see through that now. They are not buying. They never did buy celebrity endorsements to start with, but to lean so heavily on it, it's because you don't have policy, and they wanted policy. They were convinced this is the most important election in their lifetime, probably because the economic issues are hurting them so hard, and the genocide is so important to some other people. Yeah. And you offered nothing relating to that stuff.
You know, and I do think about, sorry, I'm reading all of your comments, and like, I want to like hear everything, and, you know, we're trying to get all of it, but and
I just want to say, Joy Reid actually was very for MSNBC pro-Palestine at the end. Like she knows better. She's just lying.
She's just lying. And also, you know, the difference I think between Bernie and, again, like, you know, we talked about this before, so forgive me, like the celebrity endorsements mean nothing to anybody except that when the whole establishment is turned against one person and saying, he can't win, nobody likes him, he's just a sexist man, he doesn't like Black people, he's racist, he's, you know, out to lunch, nobody wants him, he could never win. And then you have millions of people showing up to rallies and to volunteer and to donate, and wildly popular celebrities are also giving their, you know, they're like sanctioning that this is somebody we could all get behind. That's when those things did matter, I felt like. But yeah, to have a billionaire endorse you just to get on a plane with you.
Celebrities under Bernie were taking socialism basically and popularizing it. It was a true movement because of that. Without that piece, you know, it didn't become a pop thing, kind of like, you know. You're trying to turn Kamala into a pop thing and like some movement. Nobody buys it. It's just like, you paid this guy to come here, you know, like, it's just like 50 Cent got offered like $4 million, I think, to go to Trump sing at a Trump rally, you know, like.
Is that real?
Yeah. He said it on Breakfast Club the other day.
Oh my God.
But,
we're getting
but they know that it's bought or whatever. It's PR. No, it didn't shape the election, you know.
It doesn't do anything. It is all PR. And, you know, it's funny. They accused Obama of that, of being a rock star. And I do think it was just jealousy, because only the lamest celebs endorse Republicans, right? Like the Kid Rocks or whatever. But at least when Obama was running, he actually made people think he was going to be progressive. He talked about healthcare and taking on Wall Street and not voting for the Iraq war, right? So like there was a feeling, yes, he became like, a rock star and people would like faint in his crowds and everything. Like it felt deserved because of the rhetoric. And then he very quickly showed us that, it wasn't any of that. But this just feels like she wants to jump over any of that and go right to parasailing with Richard Branson.
Yeah, baby.
Strike is really in my business.
I know. Wow, another.
I did not mean that literally, and that just happened literally.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's like you manifested it. Okay, let me do it again. I gotta do a little refill here. Okay, I'm gonna fill. Oh, it is. What is it? Another one. Okay, I'm spinning again. I'm gonna remove one because we're already at 6:30. I'm removing one. Okay, remove.
Do it.
All right.
Yeah, baby.
All right. What do we got?
You guys liked the kids singing the other day, so here's another kid singing. Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. Fire, boy, make a big noise playing in the street. Gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face. Big disgrace. Can get your head all over your place. Singing way, rock you.
Good job, man.
I love him.
He crushed it.
That's awesome. Oh my God. That was excellent. All right. Where do you want to go from here? Are we doing the shit? Oh, do you want to hear Trump's victory?
Let's hear his the most gracious ever victory speech.
Best ever.
Analysis of the people that voted for us. Nobody's ever seen anything like that. They came from all corners, union, non-union, African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, Arab American, Muslim American. We had everybody, and it was beautiful. It was a historic realignment, uniting citizens of all backgrounds around a common core of common sense. We're the party of common sense. We want to have borders. We want to have security. We want to have things be good, safe. We want great education. We want a strong and powerful military, and ideally, we don't have to use it. We had no wars. 4 years, we had no wars, except we defeated ISIS. We defeated ISIS in record time. But we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. But this is also a massive victory for democracy and for freedom. Together, we're going to unlock America's glorious destiny. We're going to achieve the most incredible future for our people. Yesterday, as I stood at my last stop on the campaign trail, I'll never be doing a rally again. Can you believe it? I think we've done 900 rallies approximately from them. Can you imagine? 901 something, a lot of rallies. And it was sad. Everybody was sad. Many people, I said, this is our last rally. But now we're going on to something that's far more important, because the rallies were used for us to be put in this position where we can really help our country. That's what we're going to do.
Like, this is just awful for everybody, all of it.
It is, and I don't
also the war thing. Sorry, but we just need to come back to it because the war thing is not accurate, and they shouldn't let him get away with that, right? With the occupying Syria for oil, assassination of Soleimani, like,
yeah,
the blonde next to him is one of his daughters-in-law, right?
Behind him, I think, was his daughter-in-law.
Yeah, she's
on the left.
She's not the one who used to be with Gavin Newsom. There's
Ozempic
Laura.
face, a little bit.
Yeah. Or is that what that is? Or
I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, what is Melania thinking? Because I think I'm shocked that she didn't just leave him after 2020. But we will see.
Who
but
knows?
yeah, 4
Convenient
years of
marriage of
listening to that.
convenience. I mean, he's been screwing porn stars, and not that whatever, do your thing, but like,
yeah,
I just don't care what personally.
No, I know. I mean, like, you remember all those things where like they would bat each other's hand away. You know what I haven't seen yet, and I'm sure it's coming, is a huge chant about why picking Tim Walz was the wrong choice and that she should have picked Josh Shapiro. I haven't heard that the way I thought I would.
No, they haven't made it a big thing, but I did see a video of it. I should have pulled it, but
yeah,
they're making it. They're throwing them all out there right now. They're starting to.
I mean,
They're
that was
settle
the
on
one
something.
time. Yeah.
The biggest themes I've heard are the main one is like, she only had 100 days. She only had 100 days. What are you going to do? Like, strategically, if she distanced herself from Biden, she'd get attacked on that the whole time. If she,
do you want to be the leader of the free world, or are you just going to do decorum? Do you have any policies? Like, she's been in politics now for a decade at least, right? Do you have policies that are like your things that really like your red lines? Do you have anything that matters to you at all? Like, it shouldn't matter. You could ask me tomorrow, hey, can you get up here and say stuff? I could, I mean, clearly, but talk. And I've never been in politics, but like most of us could talk about things that for us are like, we're desperate for. We know the country's desperate for it. And this isn't our whole life, right? That's her whole life. She didn't have something ready to go. No, of course she didn't.
And on that note, the biggest of them all to me.
Yeah.
I mean, where she lost the election, where it was clear it was going to slip away and it was going to be a coin flip. Like, because initially she was going to win this thing. The not Biden love was just through the roof, right? Everyone was stoked it wasn't Biden.
Yeah.
But when she went on The View, and after all of her hiding, she hid for 2 months. She goes on The View and they ask, how are you going to be different than Biden? And she's like, I'm not, basically. She's like, can you name anything? I'm not, I don't even remember her answer anymore. But like that moment clarified to everybody who thinks they're not, that the trajectory of this country is not going the right way.
Right.
Like that was it. It was like,
yeah.
And Trump ran that clip.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, she failed miserably on that. And then she went on Colbert and did the same thing. I'm not Biden, but I'm not Trump either. Like,
yeah,
even
exactly.
after that, even after what you're saying, like people were like, what the hell are you doing?
Exactly. And Trump, the mainstream media ignored all that Trump was actually doing strategically. And that's why these people live in a bubble, because he was looping that ad like crazy. And CNN, if you had told people that Trump is running this ad about her misstep so many times, then that's an opportunity for people to put pressure on her to change. You're just being honest with the news.
Yep.
Helps change the parties, like, because it's a check and it gets people out of their bubble. Like,
well,
I'm getting so much cat ass.
I know, it's crazy. She's like in heat over here. Yeah. It's like get a room. No, I'm kidding. She now I can't remember. It's so distracting. It's like, no, what were we just talking about? Oh, they have people so conditioned, like, no, don't criticize. If you criticize, people will realize that they're in desperate straits. If you criticize her now, she won't win. As opposed to, no, criticize her now so she changes so she could win. Right? Like, respond to what people want.
It's like Bernie, one of the first to fucking endorse her.
Ugh.
One of the very fucking first, and now he's coming out with the truth,
Yeah.
He just came out with it. Yeah.
We're going to show it. International Party of Antarctica. Again, thank you. Elon Musk, eugenics obsessed technofascists have weaponized. Oh God, I wish I knew what that is because I need to put my thing. Have weaponized what? What is that? What's that little thing that you've got there? I don't even know. What is that? Weaponized what? Do you know? All right. And brain chips planned for masses. What's the weaponized?
Satellites.
All right. And brain chips planned for the masses, holographic and voice to skull tech to create a Zardoz Project Bluebeam National Jonestown type event.
Well, that does bring up to me, it's not good that Elon Musk is going to have a powerful place in his
Horrible.
cabinet or whatever. Even if he's not in his cabinet, he's going to have
chief
his
of
ear
staff
the whole time. And then the other one is RFK Jr. is going to be put in charge of health issues. I mean, these are not good things for the country.
Cheers to you, International Party of Antarctica, before we show another clip and it goes over that. Thank you very much. Thank you. No, it's not good for the country at all. Although it's not good for the country at all. I do think, as we've all been saying, and Lori is saying here, at least news will hold him accountable more. Maybe we'll hear about COVID. We'll hear about pandemic preparations. We might even hear about all the wars. Although even with Trump, I mean, that was the thing, right? Today is the day Trump really became president, was when he sent the mother of all bombs, dropped it on Syria. Now I can't even remember what it was, but they love war. So when he's into the war, it's the one time they turned on Biden was when he pulled troops out of Afghanistan. But the RFK Jr. thing is very scary. It's very scary. I do hope that a portion of it where he calls out the FDA for, one thing that I heard him say today, and he's right. Why are we allowed to have the exact same cereal in the US that has, 3 ounce, and that exact cereal brand in the UK or in Europe has 3 ingredients,
yeah, and ours has toxic ingredients banned in other countries. Why are we
exactly?
But then the unknown with him is he's so loopy on the science that half his science is just wrong. And so when you put him in charge of some of this stuff, it's really scary to think where we're going to go. And so Trump in his, we had the acceptance speech clip of it, but there's another part where he gets into what he told RFK. He said, you can have everything but the oil. You can go regulate the FDA, whatever, but oil, we're going to drill, baby, drill, basically. And saying that you're not going to put all your climate stuff, which is the stuff that he's known for, that people like him on largely, one piece of it, none of that's going to be part of the administration. It's just going to be quackery and bullshit for the most part, is what I think.
I think you're right about some of the vaccine stuff. I think that there's a possibility that with food, FDA stuff, possibly we will get better regulations.
We're going to ban chemtrails probably or some crazy shit.
But the climate at the beginning, because he's known as this corporate anti-corporate climate lawyer guy, right?
Yeah.
But when he was asked about climate when he was still running at the beginning of his campaign, he didn't really have a response to it. He did not make it sound like he was going to take on climate policy at all. So,
and that could have been if he didn't have his anti-vax bullshit.
Yeah.
Which the vaccines are not a panacea to solve the world's problems with COVID, But and they lied a lot about this stuff.
Yeah.
He's right on that, but he's wrong on the science behind it and why they did it.
Yeah,
and all that.
But
if he had leaned into climate, you would have had a legitimate sort of lefty argument.
Yeah. But that one he didn't want to touch. He was like, well, we got to basically, because he knows. I mean, here's the thing that everybody knows. The only way to solve the climate issue at all, which we're pretty much too late for, is to take on capitalism and smash that entirely. We cannot do this exponential growth.
Right.
You
can't be serious about the climate if you don't rein in the U.S. military's effect on the climate, which is the number one polluter.
Yeah.
And RFK Jr., for all this talk about him being anti-wars, loves the war in Ukraine.
And Gaza. I mean,
Totally down with Gaza.
Yeah, he wants our border to look more like the Israeli-Gaza border. That's what he said. So, no, gross. He's awful.
He's a piece of shit.
Yeah. Is this the happy part? Okay, it's 6:44. Where do we want to go? We have a couple of things just to go to the climate as figure it out, Pat. 50 of the world's richest billionaires on average emit more carbon through their investments, private jets, and yachts in just over an hour and a half than the average person does in their entire lifetime, which is why billionaires should not exist tax them out of that economic state,
Right.
and they are our enemies. Like you
this-
really have to know that.
This is why ultimately capitalism is the real problem. Like you can bring in a fake lefty Democratic Party, but they're not going to regulate capitalism on any level because their top donors are these 50 people. And they're just going to make sure whatever passes doesn't affect them, and they're the biggest fucking polluters.
Yep.
And the military is the other piece. You're not going to convince the military to rein in their, the military needs to perpetuate itself and needs to take money, needs to keep funneling it to the bomb makers. It's a whole living organism that needs to be fed by US money, and capitalism is going to make sure they're fed first in this whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
Should we go over some of the worst lessons learned?
And I'm sorry, because I'm looking at what you said. And yeah, I actually do think, sorry, because emoji over here is saying he actually wanted to end the war with Ukraine, which I think that is, I remember that. Yeah. But he's really bad with Israel. He's a total Zionist, like all in for that. And he's he is a capitalist. He is incredibly wealthy. His family's wealthy. And that is the one thing they are never going to touch. So they will not solve any big issues because they're just going to pick away at their little, pet projects. And the whole autism thing has been debunked so many times and he still talks about it. It's just awful.
And in Haiti, the measles, he killed so many people he parachuted into Haiti and said that the measles vaccine wasn't effective right when they needed it. And, so many kids died. It's just junk science. Junk science has a consequence.
Absolutely. Let's hear from the Blue MAGA.
Some of the Blue MAGA. I mean, obviously they're learning the wrong lessons.
Yeah, so that's what we showed, right? That lady, Elise Jordan, progressive era should be over if they want to start winning again. How do you get a job as an analyst and get it wrong every time? Okay, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
That's why you have the job, really.
Yeah.
I think this is a repudiation in many respects of the progressive side of the party, even though Harris herself did not run a Sanders-like or AOC-like campaign.
But still a repudiation. He can't even put a transitional sentence in there. Somehow make that work, but he doesn't even do it.
The person that ran is nothing like the people that were hugely popular.
Yeah. But I hate the left, so it's sort of a repudiation.
It just sort of works.
Yeah.
Don't know how.
What else?
We
got Destiny. I know people know. I don't even know who this guy is, but I guess he's if Kamala ends up winning, the entire far left, the commies, Tinkies, the Hamas supporters, etc., need to be fucking jettisoned from the party. We don't need them to win elections. Clearly, good job. We can turn out our own base, and they are an absolute fucking cancer to be associated with. Get all these people gone. Seriously, they are the worst. Wait, what the shitlib things that you just put shitlib 1, 2, 3, 4? I don't know what they say.
These were just people on Twitter. Some of them, I mean, these were heavily retweeted tweets.
Yeah, exactly.
Is why I picked them.
Christina Applegate was trending today because of her "please unfollow me if you voted against female rights," not the females in Palestine or Lebanon who are being slaughtered or their babies, against disability rights. Yeah, that. Unfollow me because what you did is unreal. I haven't heard her once talk about the genocide. Don't want followers like this. So yeah, done. Also, after today, I'll be shutting down this fan account that I have had for so many years because this is sick. Genocide is sick. Genocide is what's sick. Like, is she, unless you're tweeting for, or, speaking out, she has 6.8 million followers. I've never once heard her talk about Medicare for all because a lot of poor women can't afford your abortions. And those clinics are shutting down because of financial reasons even before Roe v. Wade was overturned. So that was listen, it's horrible. I hate that Roe v. Wade was overturned. I hate that, but Democrats had no plan to fix it. They could have fixed it over the past 50 years. They could have codified it, not once.
And these issues that cost them the election didn't pop up 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, 3 months ago, a year ago even. But if you want to just focus on Israel, which that issue alone cost them the election probably. Like they could have gotten through it if they changed that. You had a year to voice your discontent with this and push things. And
I had to do it. Yeah.
you didn't. So you're blaming people that told you a year ago they weren't going to vote for this. I mean, that issue alone, we said, we're not voting for this.
God.
So let's keep going with the shit lib takes.
Yeah.
Here we go. This one I thought was interesting because
yeah.
David Corn, total shitbag. Perhaps massive deportations will affect how they see Trump.
Imagine that. Because so that tweet that he had was of the big margins now of Latinos who have moved over into the Trump category. So basically, this is another one. I mean, he has a huge platform.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like a regular column in some muckety muck lib journal. But like again, it's like, when I say, oh, I'm an anti-Zionist Jew, like, oh, well, see how you like Hamas when they're raping you and it's like that. Like they kind of want the horrible things to happen to Latinos so that they can say, see, we told you.
Yeah, and I think that's the theme running through all the shitload takes I pulled. But
yeah,
I thought this
100%.
one was interesting because it's layered.
Yeah,
you got the retweet of him, fuck Latinos and Arabs there. I said it. Hope you all get deported and banned.
Love it.
And then back to David Corn, Mehdi Hassan, who is often extremely critical of the party, was pretty good on Palestine most of the way through. One of the only people semi close to MSNBC network coverage, to be honest about it. But he was like, he trashed Jill Stein down the stretch.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Here he is retweeting this,
Yep. You're going to get what you deserve. Good job, Latinos. Good job voting for Trump. Racist Trump.
And this was just spin, because they're in copium land.
Yep. Trump cheated.
Trump cheated. Here we are doing the Trump shit, basically, on the Democratic side.
I'm surprised they have not gone back to Russiagate at the level that I thought they were going to. Like they kind of had it teed up with Newland last week and Rachel Maddow, and right.
I think David Corn also is one. I didn't pull the tweet, but I think he was the first one introducing Russia to it again too.
Oh my God.
But here you go. This is why you bitches in Texas deserve no electricity.
Oh my God.
I hope the hurricanes get worse for Florida. And this was 3.4 million views. So 14. I mean, to get 14,000 reposts on Twitter, it's got to have a lot of support. And this is just a Joe Twitter guy. It's not like some big account.
Meanwhile, and like people could say that and do about the US all the time. Like, even though many of us are against the people who are in power, right? Like, but if anything, it's a democracy. And if it happens because of the US, then you're all responsible for it. And you have to look at the numbers and, the tabs or whatever, and realize how little support the people in power actually do have. But like Florida just voted 57% to codify Roe. You wouldn't know that
most
because they
people
didn't
did.
the 60, right? But yeah.
But they should all drown, or
They should all drown and not have electricity and whatever. Yeah.
I did just realize I put it in a different place, but it was David Corn. Here he is with the Russia.
Yep.
Russia again attacked the U.S. election, helped Trump. This should be a big deal. I mean, come
on. Macarius, thank you. Yes,
Thank you,
they
Macarius.
ran hard to the right and lost. And the lesson you can take from that is the progressive wing has to die. The left is to blame.
Okay, you had a Freudian slip. You said hard to the right and long.
I
Did
said
you guys
that?
hear that? You just said it. You said hard to the right and long. Put that
I'm
in
just slurring my words. 'Cause it's my
blooper trail. whatever.
and long. Yeah.
Here's another.
Thank you,
here's some more
Macarius.
copium.
Yeah. Harris clearly did better in the big 7 swing states relative to, was this? Oh, that was, wow. Oh, this was in the middle of the night. Okay. Relative to deep blue and the deep red ones, the ads and the strategy and the campaign were reasonably effective. The big picture branding and political environment were not. God, they're all just tap dancing for their money so hard.
To
And
say
yes,
that the ads were effective when you lost all the swing states is crazy town. Like, these guys are so grasping.
and also just thank you, Truth to Tweet. Yes, Mother Jones. Thank you.
Oh, for yeah.
I forget what we were just What were we just saying?
We were talking about the ads and the strategy.
Yeah. Yeah. Iglesias is I mean, they really are just, because they fail up. Because again, like it's a vertical integration, right? It's like those super PACs that you get 20 texts every hour are working with the same people who are then working with the David Corns at Mother Jones. And so the Claire lady who runs Mother Jones and who lambasted, Bernie 8 years ago, and the lady who writes for The Nation, Joy, whoever, who, she's always on TV.
Xander Haven or something.
Yeah, but like these people are so fragile, and they are just working in their own little bubble ecosystem, backing each other up, and there will never be an analysis of what the true problem is by them. They probably even know what it is, but they absolutely don't want anything to affect their pocketbooks. Like that is the bottom line for everybody. It's capitalism, and they don't want to see a change to that.
Down with capitalism. Amen.
It is the root. I don't know what this Krasenstein thing is. Should I click on it?
Oh, I think this was from a last election, but it was circulating today, so I thought I'd share it. But where is it?
Is it the Bitcoin stuff? Oh.
Yeah, if Trump wins, I'm out of here. And then if you scroll down, I'll take my family, pack up some essential belongings, grab my Bitcoin, head for a place that won't have a convicted felon, blah, blah, blah. But then basically it's for a quick vacation before coming back. So this is a rich dude.
Got my Bitcoin.
Even having the I'm the leaving the country thing. He's like, I'm going to go on a big fucking expensive vacation with my family.
Let's be crystal clear. It's a big threat. Yeah. Because what changed for them actually under Trump? Like what I really am trying to understand, because in the end, like, part of the project is to help people understand a better way forward and the corruption that we're dealing with. But we can't really do that until we make inroads in this like derangement that they have, where they think Trump is worse than most all Republicans.
Yeah.
Like
I
don't understand how to poke.
I think I understand it somewhat, but like, I mean,
But
my
to
parents
pierce
are,
it, how do you fix that? Yeah, go ahead.
well, my parents are a good example because, they're given my dad was at least, I'm going to leave the country, if Trump wins. Right.
Yeah.
And materially, they're completely unaffected by Trump. They're doing well in their retirement. Bills are covered. They're not rich by any means, but they're fine. Economics are not a factor on who they vote for.
Right.
It's the sensibility, and it's also that they are very empathetic people. So they think this is going to affect, they've been messaged so much that this is going to affect, and Trump is going to affect all these people, he's going to mass deportations, so, so that part, they hear the messaging about how bad it could be for the little people kind of from Trump, and they attach to that, even though it doesn't affect them,
But when you say to them,
they don't hear the harm that the Democrats do. And
okay, but when you tell them, then because like when I tell liberals, okay, I understand the kids in cages, but like that actually started under Obama, made worse under Trump. Biden did nothing to fix it. He actually gave more money for those ICE prisons. He deported more. Like they shut down.
Well, for my parents, for example,
they
do. It's a mix. It's a mix of shutting down sometimes, but then they also recognize these are real problems because I've been on it for years.
Right. Right.
And they're tuned in too, pretty much for a MSNBC kind of audience. And my dad, at least, he's fully on board with Democrats suck. Entirely. But then as much as they can even process and believe everything I'm saying and not fight back sometimes, the fear of Trump sets in. The messaging is so hard. He's so just grating to hear him talk. And it's, I think it speaks to the country. Like, how did our country get here when this guy's our president with that shitty, low intellect, stuff. And that overrides how bad we are, because at least we don't have a guy up there who looks so stupid and seems so grifty.
So I mean, it really is just the facade.
It's a lot of aesthetics. Yeah, it's a lot of it, I think. But it's also, like I said, it's empathy, because they really think it's bad for the country, you know, and he is bad for the country. They just don't see the equivalents. They don't see the equivalent bad from Democrats, no matter how much you put it in their face. It's hard for them in their cognitive dissonance to process
the thing. How do you, like, when you show the facts, it's like they stop being your friend. That happened a lot. Or they're just like, I don't know. Nobody's ever been as bad as this. It's just like, I don't know. It's just, I have a very difficult time with it, because I'm just like data. I just want to, like, what's the truth of it? I want to know the truth.
Look, we flipped Peter Dow. All it took was the entire internet mocking him and me writing a book. So just write a book and get
now we have 170 million more people to go.
Mocking your own parents, in my case. I'm gonna write books about my parents.
Listen, anyway. Okay, it is late. It's 7:00. More books, Pat. Let's get them. We have a cocktail book on the way. Eventually.
We do. We got to get cracking a little more on it. But
we got to get cracking.
It's coming.
All right. This was fun. You all are amazing. We didn't really touch on any of the other big issues that, persist. Our absentee president, who's dealing with nothing except funneling weapons for war and letting this country just decline.
Yeah.
So we will get to those other.
We will. Today was just election stuff, which is
the recap.
It's the least important stuff, but I think we need to frame why they lost to our normie friends. And so I think it's important to go over.
Yeah, it was not sexism and racism. Just keep saying, then why in Trump, Michigan, did Rashida Tlaib win? Or in Minnesota,
yeah, why did Trump do better in every demographic, pretty much? If it's about race and
they say they're voting against their interests.
Yeah,
that's the stock answer. So Francesca Albanese is, I just think, like one of the fiercest, coolest, amazing, wonderful women in the world, and she has been so derided, castigated, just maligned by governments, by our government, by our UN ambassador, by Canada. But she is still fighting the good fight, as we all need to do. So we're going to go out on her. We love you guys. Thank you. Keep punching up. We'll see you on Sunday.
Cheers.
Cheers.
About the two-state solution, the Foreign Affairs Committee here is studying what they call the quickest path to recognize a Palestinian state by the government of Canada. Do you think that is a useful exercise? Could it lead to peace if Canada does so?
I beg your pardon, but I am not comfortable with language like useful exercise while there is and imagining government officials or parliamentarians entertaining themselves in useful exercise when there is a genocide ongoing. The priority is to stop the genocide. If the government here, the parliamentarians want to call it ceasefire, call it pear and apple, call it the way you want, but this is the priority. The rest is secondary, which doesn't mean that the recognition of the state of Palestine is not important. My question is, if this country has entertained the discussions on the two-state solution, how come it has not recognized the state of Palestine yet? What is to be debated? So again, recognition of the state of Palestine shouldn't take time, should be automatic, should be an act of coherence. Otherwise, if you don't recognize it, it means that you shouldn't be talking about that at all. Why are you even a voice in the debate? It's about coherence. I know that what I'm saying is blunt, but we need to be blunt, because the impunity that has been granted to Israel for decades has led to this, which is a disaster both for the Palestinians and the Israelis. And again, diplomatic talks has been turned into a place to justify the unimaginable, the illegal. So, yes, the state of Palestine should be recognized. Let's move on. But the point, the question is not that. The question is self-determination. Even if you recognize the state of Palestine and it's merely a perfunctory act, what do you do to realize the right of self-determination of the Palestinians? Is Canada spending any of its political capital to make sure that the genocide ends as soon as possible, the ceasefire, whatever? But then there is already a deadline set for the end of the occupation. The ICJ has passed an advisory opinion which declares the occupation unlawful and to be dismantled unconditionally and totally as rapidly as possible. And that as rapid as possible has been defined by the General Assembly. It must happen by September next year. What is Canada doing to ensure that the occupation is dismantled? And then, more than this, there is apartheid. I know that in this country you feel uncomfortable with the word apartheid, but you have to tell me why. Because I, together with Israeli human rights organizations, Palestinian human rights organizations, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, Harvard University, and thousands of Israelis, talk about apartheid and give you the evidence of it. And here, like in other parts in North America, I hear, we cannot say that word. It's your problem. Again, international law is so clear that doesn't allow you to find excuses. So, however, end of the genocide, end of the occupation, end of the apartheid. This is what it means applying international law and helping build peace for Palestinians and Israelis and anyone who calls that land home.